this video I am going to show you how can I create this custom select box, or you can say this is the custom select menu. Without further ado, let's start. Hello and namaste everyone, this is Jitsaru with Coding Design. Welcome to our channel. If you are new here, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. Now let's create index.html file. Inside the index.html file, if I type !sign and hit that tab button, you'll get this basic HTML code. For the title, I want to give custom select box. Now inside the body tag, let's create a div with class name select box, and inside that div I am creating another div with class name selected option, and inside that div let's create input element with type text, and also let's give the placeholder. For the placeholder attribute I am giving select favorite browser, and also let's give another attribute read only. Let's save it, and in the VS Code if you have installed this extension called live server, then in the index.html file, if you right click and hit that option called open with live server, then it will open it in your default browser. Now you can see this is your output, and now let's adjust these screens. Now let's link our CSS file. So just below the title tag I'm linking my CSS file, so this is style.css file. Okay, so if you have noticed that I have already created the style.css file. In the style.css file, inside the root pseudo class selector, I have declared some variables. For the primary variable, I have given there some dark reddish color, and at the end I have given there 99. That is the alpha value of that color that controls the transparency. So you can check it out, this color picker. Okay, you can see. And also I have given there border. For the border, I have given the width of 0.07 rem. For the style, I have given the solid, and for the color some sky blue color. And also I have declared another variable hoverbz, and for that hoverbz variable I am assigning dark color, and at the end I have given there 6. That is also the alpha value of that color. Okay, and for the variable box shadow, for the x offset I have given 0, and for the y offset 0.1 rem. For the blur value I have given there 0.5 rem, and also for the color I have given there black color. So for the transparency I have given there 8. So in order to prevent the browser's default margin and padding, for the universal selector I have given there margin and padding 0, and also for the box sizing I have given there border box. Now let's style the body tag. For the body tag I am going to give height of 100 VH, and also let's give the background image. So I'm writing background URL. In the URL let's give the image location. So inside the images folder I have the image named map.jpg, so let's give that image. If I save in the browser, now you can see that image. So you can see in the same folder I have the images folder, and inside that folder you can see I have different images, something like chrome.png, ace.png, so opera.png. So there are many other images. Okay, in the same line I'm giving background position of center. I'm using the background shorthand property, and also let's give the background size. For the background size I'm giving cover, and also let's give font. For the font width I'm giving lighter. For the font size I'm giving 1 rem, and also for the font family I'm giving sans serif. Now you can see in the browser the font size as well as the font family, you can see there is some changes. And also let's give display flex, justify content to center. Okay, now you can see it is brought horizontally center, and also let's give align items to center, so that would bring your content vertically center. So now you can see it is exactly at the center of your browser. Now let's style that div with class name select box. So for the class select box, let's give width of 28 rem. Now let's style that input field that is inside the div with class name selected option. So for the input that is inside the div with class name selected option, I am giving width of 100%. Okay, now you can see there is some changes. And also let's give padding. For the padding top and bottom I'm giving 1 rem, and for the left and right I want to give 1.5 rem. So now it's looking much more better. Similarly, let's give cursor of pointer, and also I want to give text transform to capitalize. Now you can see every word that is starting with capital letter. And also I want to give border none, outline none. Also I want to give border radius. For the border radius I want to give 1 rem. Now in the browser you can see rounded corners around the input field. And also I want to give font size of 1.2 rem. So in the final output you can see some down arrow icon. Okay, so you can use different third-party libraries like Font Awesome or any other libraries. Okay, but I don't want to use any third-party libraries, so I want to create that icon by myself. So yeah, let's create that icon. So for the div with class name selected option, first of all let's give the position of relative. Let's select this code and duplicate it. And for the class selected option, I want to give after pseudo element. Now instead of that relative position, let's change it to absolute. And also I want to give content empty string. So this content is necessary, okay, otherwise you won't be able to create that after pseudo element. I want to give height and width of 0.5 rem. And also let's give bordered right. For the bordered right I want to give width of 0.1 rem. For the bordered style I want to give solid, and for the color let's give black color. In the browser now you can see that small line. Okay, it is totally outside of that input field, so let's give right. For the right I want to give 1.5 rem. Okay, now it is brought inside that input field. And also let's give top. For the top value I am giving 50% so that it would bring it to the center, but it is not exactly at the center. Okay, later on I'll show you like how can you bring it exactly at the center, but for now let's duplicate this code, and instead of that right let's give bottom, bordered bottom. If I save, now you can see, now in order to bring that icon exactly at the center I want to give transform, translate y, and I want to give minus 50%. So this code will bring your icon exactly at the center. And also I want to rotate. Okay, so for the rotate I want to give the value of 45 degree. So in this way you can create that down arrow icon. And once again let's select this code and duplicate it. So for the class selected option, when you hover, okay, let's remove this code, and when you hover I want to give transform scale. For the scale value I want to give 1.08. So when you hover, now you can see some kind of zoom in effect, but there is no any transition. So for the class selected option, let's give transition. For the transition duration I am giving 0.3 second, and also for the timing function I want to give is in out. Okay, so when you hover, now you can see smooth transition. Now for the div with class name selected option, when you give that active class, okay, so when you give that active class, for the after pseudo element, let's change its transform. So let's duplicate this code and let's take it to the active class, and instead of that rotate 45 degree, let's give 220 degree. Okay, for the div with class name selected option, when I give active class in the browser, now you can see the arrow is rotating exactly in the opposite direction. Now when I remove that active class, so it will gain its original position. Okay, yeah, let's keep it that active class. Now just below the div with class name selected option, let's create the unordered list item. So I am writing ul with class name options. So inside that unordered list, let's create list item with class name option, and also let's give give image inside that list item. So let's select this code and let's wrap it inside the bracket, and let's give asterisk, and if I give 5 and hit the tab button, you will get this 5 list item with class name option, and inside that list you can see we have created the image element. This is what you call the emmet abbreviation. So if you have no any idea like what is the emmet abbreviation, then I have already created this separate video on this topic, so you can check it out. The video's link in the description below or at the top right corner in the iCard, you can check it out. Okay, now for the first list item, okay, I want to give Google Chrome, and for the second list let's give Safari. For the third list I want to give Mozilla Firefox. For the fourth list I'm giving Microsoft Edge, and for the fifth list I'm giving Opera. In the browser now you can see the browsers list, and also for the image element let's give the source. For the source let's give that image location. So inside the images folder we have the chrome.png image. Okay, so now I'm speeding up my video, so I'm giving all the browsers images. Okay, if I save, now you can see choose images. Okay, so first of all let's style that images. So the image that is inside the div with class name option, let's give the width of 2 rem, and also let's give height of auto. This is what I want. Okay, now yeah, let's style the class options. So now for the class options let's give the background color. For the background color let's give that primary variable. Okay, so that dark color with some transparency. Okay, similarly let's give the list style type to none, and also let's give border radius. For the border radius I'm giving 1 rem. I can see rounded corners around the black box. Similarly let's give some space between that input field and the list items. Okay, so in order to do that I'm giving margin top. For the margin top I'm giving 1 rem, and in the browser now you can see there is some space between the input field and that list items. And also I want to give box shadow for that list item with class name options. For the box shadow let's give that box shadow variable. Okay, now you can see in the browser there is some shadow. And also I want to give another CSS new property, backdrop filter. So in the screen I have given their picture, so you can check it out. The old versions of browsers they may not support, okay, but the new versions definitely they do support. Okay, so I'm writing the WebKit prefix, okay, for the backdrop filter. And for the value let's give blur. I want to give it to 0.1 rem. Okay, blur value, so that you would get like glassy effect. Now for the maximum height let's give 0. When you give that active class for div with class name selected option, for the unordered list with class name option we'll give, let's duplicate this code and let's bring it to the downside, and for the maximum height we'll give 21 rem. But now you can see there is no any changes. You can see the div with class name selected option is exactly next to unordered list with class name options. So if I give the plus, okay, now you can see that unordered list with background color, that black color, it reappears. And also you can see that arrow that is pointing exactly at the top side. Okay, as soon as you give the active class for that div with class name selected option, UL element with class name options maximum height will be changed into 21 rem. Okay, so when you remove that active class, its maximum height will be 0, and also that arrow is pointing towards the downside. So let's keep it to the active class. Okay, so now for the class select box, let's give the transition. So in order to give that transition, let's duplicate this code and let's take it to the class select box. Now let's style the list items. Okay, so for the list items with class name option, I'm giving display flex, justify content to space between, And also let's give align items to center. Now you can see that browser's logo, they are taken at the right corner side. And now let's copy this list item with class name option, paste it there, and let's give the comma. And also let's copy this code and let's paste it there. Let's close the bracket and let's select this code and let's take it up there. These are the common CSS property that we're giving for the list item and also for that input field. Okay, so now you can see all those properties are applied for list item and also for the input text field. Okay, now for the list item with class name option, let's give the border bottom. So for the border bottom, I'm giving that variable border. So if I save, now you can see that blue border. So at the top we have already declared their border variable and we have given there some values, but we don't want to keep that border bottom for that last list item. So in order to prevent that, let's give the not pseudo class, and inside that I'm giving the pseudo class last of type. And if I save, now you can see that border bottom is not applied for that last list item. So this is what you want. Now for the list item with class name option, let's give the color. For the color, let's give that white color. Now when you hover that list item with class name option, let's give the transform. For the transform, I'm giving scale. I want a scale 1.02. Okay, now so when you hover, you can see it is scaling up, but there is no any transition. So for the list item with class name option, let's give the transition. So for the transition, I'm giving the same values. For the duration, I'm giving 0.3 second, and for the time function, let's give is in out. So in the browser, when you hover those list items, now you can see smooth transition. And also when you hover that list item, let's give the background color. So for the background color, let's give that variable name hover_vz. So I'm giving that variable, so that is declared inside the root pseudo class. So now if I save, and in the browser, now you can see when you hover, okay, but there is some problem. So you can see when you hover, list item is overflowing. Okay, that is what we don't want. Okay, for the UL with class name options, let's give overflow to hidden, then that problem will be solved. Okay, now when I hover, okay, this is what you want. So now when you click that input field, okay, we want to display that list items. So in order to do that, we need to add and remove that active class for the div with class name selected option. So in order to do that, we need the JavaScript code. So it's a very few line of JavaScript code. So just above the end of body tag, let's create the script tag. So inside the script tag, first of all, let's declare some variable. So I'm writing const selected option is equal to document.querySelector. So let's select that today with class name selected option. Let's copy and let's paste it there. And also let's remove that active class for now. And also now let's select this list item with class option. So I'm declaring the const options variable is equal to document.querySelector all. So we are now using all. It's because we want to select all the list item with class name option. Inside that, let's give dot option. So with the help of this code, we are selecting all the list item with class name option. So first of all, let's copy this variable selected option and let's paste it there. So I'm writing dot on click is equal to, I'm assigning arrow function. So now when you click that input text field, I want to add and remove that active class for the div with class name selected option. So for that, I'm writing selected option dot class list dot toggle. So we want to toggle the active class. So with the help of this code, we will be able to add and remove the active class for that div with class name selected option. So now you can see when you click that input text field list item, it appears, and when you click once again, it disappears. Okay, so this is what you want, but there is no any smooth transition. So in order to give that smooth transition for the unordered list, okay, let's give the same transition value. So let's duplicate this code and let's take it to the unordered list. So if I save and once again if I click, now you can see smooth smooth transition. So this is what you want. Similarly, now let's iterate all the list items. So in order to do that, I'm using the for of loop. So I'm writing for option of options. So we are iterating all the list item with class name option. I'm writing option and let's say it in the console. Okay, what you will get this option. So let's wrap it inside this console.log, and in the browser if I press F12 key and let's go to the console tab, and in the console now you can see all the list items, okay, with class name option. Undo the changes and let's give option dot on click. So when you click any list item, so I'm assigning the arrow function, and also let's pass the e as an argument, so that is the event. And now let's copy this selected option variable, let's paste it there, and I'm writing dot option dot query selector. So I want to get that input field, okay, so I'm writing input and dot value, and I'm assigning e dot target dot inner text. With the help of this code, whenever I'm clicking the list item, so I'll get the exact list items text value that I have clicked. Okay, now let's take it to the full screen, and now you can see when I click input text field, the list items, it reappears. And also if I click on the Opera, you can see that reflects in that input text field. And if I click Mozilla Firefox, okay, that is reflected in the input text field. But whenever you are clicking the list items, I want to hide that all the list items. Okay, so in order to do that, let's give the same thing for the selected option dot class list dot toggle. We are toggling the active class. Okay, so if I save and let's go back to the browser, and if I click on Google Chrome, now you can see that Google Chrome is reflected in the input text field, and also the list items, they are disappeared. So yeah, now it's looking good. But yeah, what if you want to change it to the light theme? Okay, so this is the dark theme. So if you don't like this color, you can change it something like in the style.css file. First of all, let's duplicate this code and let's comment it out. So for the primary variable, I'm giving white color with some transparent value. I'm giving 8. And if I save and in the browser, now you can see this is the light theme, but I love the dark theme. Okay, so I'm changing back to dark theme. And also let's give that box shadow variable for that input text field too. Okay, so for the input text field, I'm giving the box shadow, and I'm giving that variable box shadow. So if I save and in the browser, now you can see, so after adding that box shadow for that input text field, it's looking much more better than before. So yeah, everything is working and the animation is smooth. Okay, so this is what you want. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did learn something, smash that like button. If you have any kind of queries, let me know in the comment box. Share this video if you think someone needs it. And also, if you haven't already hit that subscribe button and also the notification bell icon. Remember, there is always more to learn, so keep learning.